When the Indians lived here for 3,000 years, it was more of a community, more of a sustainable community. Their relationship to the environment and nature, and their attitudes toward the environment and nature. When the Spanish came in the 1700s, and then when the Europeans came in the 1800s, the attitudes were much different. It was much more of, we have unlimited resources, so we'll use them all. So they started harvesting all the oak trees, and it was more destructive than it was sustainable. So the people in the Victorian age, which is all this property that Dominican is on, started planting a greater diversity of trees. They started planting a lot of eucalyptus trees around 1900 as a replacement wood, so that people would stop harvesting all the oaks and redwoods and they'd be able to harvest eucalyptus to try and change how people behave and act toward the environment. But it was still very, very much a harvesting, and it was about growth rather than sustainability. Keeping the orchards that were here from the Victorian age, so they had orchards, the fruit orchards, which we still have today, and the green spaces, which we still have today. We maintain the creek that flows through the property. They didn't change that. I mean, I'm really glad they didn't, but they could have. So I think what we see now, today, is a lot of shows people's attitudes in relationship to the environment and to nature. And also the deer. The deer is another huge pest for us on the campus. Because of people's attitudes toward the deer and relationships toward the deer, we don't shoo them away. We keep them here. But they really can destroy a lot of vegetation. And so we have to be very specific about the kinds of plants we put in, that they don't eat them. Deer, we're killing them. So now you'll see on newly planted trees, you'll see a little tiny wire fence around them. And that's to keep the deer from destroying them. We do compost on campus. We started that when I got here. When I first arrived here, there was 2 gardeners who raked up the leaves, put them in plastic bags, and put them in a dumpster. As well as all the lawn grass clippings, everything was just thrown away. We would take all the leaves and blow them onto the lawns, so we're not raking them and picking them up. And then our lawnmower comes along and mulches up the leaves while it's cutting the grass, and all that goes onto the compost piles, as well as all of our deadheading from flowers and all of our cuttings. Anything in the organic landscape goes onto our compost pile. And one advantage is that we're not adding that to a landfill. And the second is that then turns into a soil for us that we bring back into the landscape, and it's very high in nutrients and does well for all the plants in the garden. I will say more considerate of the environment, and just take the extra step to do that. To try and implement a little bit of change in consciousness so someone might appreciate the campus and learn to appreciate the environment, and to understand that a relationship to the environment isn't just what you receive, but what you give as well. So when I do talk to classes sometimes, I ask the question about what is your relationship to the environment? What do you receive and what do you give? And I don't think people understand they need to give to the environment, because they want to just choose what to accept, but not what do you give. So that's the biggest challenge we have, is just a shift in culture and consciousness.